Intermittent fasting, which is basically going periods of sort of like anywhere between 16, 24 more hours without eating anything, has been shown to have real sort of benefits for life extension. Reduces the inflammation, which I mentioned before, which is the root cause of much of metabolic syndrome. Helps improve your digestion. Often people's digestion is just overloaded from the constant work it's having to do. It never gets a chance just to rest. And very good for fat loss, but without muscle loss. Again, it helps you create those temporary calorie deficits, so you can burn a bit of fat, then have a bit of a feast afterwards, build some muscle. It's really convenient, you know, you can be stressing out where I'm going to find some decent food around the, city centre. It's just Greggs and pasty shops and McDonald's. Just don't eat. It's easy. Wait till you get home and eat some proper food. People tend to have really high adherence to it because it's just easy to do. It's free, doesn't cost anything, you don't need any equipment. And yeah, it does allow for some feasting. It means you can have those big, hearty, satisfying meals and not having to eat like little rabbit meals all the time. There's a few different approaches which I'll skip through here. You can do like 24-hour fasts a couple of times a week, or you can just skip breakfast every day. And if you're not quite ready to go the full hog yet, you can go sort of halfway by just doing some macronutrient fasting. Either just eat protein-dense foods, lean proteins, which fill you up, stop you being hungry, but pretty low in calories throughout the day, help you burn some fat, or just skip the protein and just eat carbs and fat through the day, and you get a lot of health benefits of the intermittent fasting, like autophagy and so on, just help your body rest and recover from digesting all the time. So I'm fast running out of time here, so I'm just going to finish with a little bit of a summary. Take-home points from today, really, in 3 notes. You just concentrate on nutrient-dense foods and reducing your toxins. Make decisions, make conscious decisions about what you eat. Before you eat it, think, why am I eating this? What's it going to do for me? That's the important thing. Nourish and protect your gut flora. Remember, you're eating for 10 trillion. So think about what effect that food's going to have on the guys in there. And then finally, yeah, eat mindfully. Whatever you eat, actually enjoy it, think about it, eat it, consume it, and learn to appreciate true hunger and cravings. And that's about it from me from today. So if you want more information, I've got a blog, primalliving.co.uk, and I'm on Twitter under that, Simon Primal. If you're around the Manchester area, you want to climb some trees and throw some tyres around in the park, I've got Primal Fitness. And then if you're after some grass-fed beef, we've got Grass-Fed Beef UK on Twitter, Green Pasture Farms, got pastured pork, chicken, lamb, and beef on there. So yeah, so that's everything I want to get through today. And then if you've got any questions about anything, I think we've got 5 minutes to do questions, yeah? Cool. Oops. Yeah, you're right there. Was it Rob? Yeah. Oh.
What are the effects of alcohol on your body, particularly on your gut flora?
Well, this is a debatable one, which I've looked into because I'm a fan of a bit of real ale from now and again. This is one of the things where moderation is important. There's been some people that said alcohol can affect your gut flora, but there's also been studies on alcoholics, and some alcoholics have got perfectly normal gut flora, so it's obviously not so clear cut. Alcohol obviously has a lot of effects on your body as a whole. Yeah, it's a toxin basically, so it's like the other things. You've got to do that risk assessment. Yeah, there's some toxins in there. It's not the most nutrient-dense food, but you get a lot of pleasure out for it, so it's getting that balance, It's a reasonable amount. There's plenty of research that shows, a few drinks a week. Actually, you've got lower BMI, and you probably have a longer life expectancy, so yeah, moderation.
I have the same question.
All right, that's cool.
How do you and should you incorporate intermittent fasting in an extremely active lifestyle, say if you exercise every day, for example?
Yeah. I would say there's a couple of different approaches. You can just throw yourself in there and try a full 24-hour fast. So there's a lot of benefits to training in the fasted state. I've had actually a lot of PRs in terms of like deadlifts and so on while fasted, and sprints and all sorts of things. Don't know whether that's placebo effects or what. And yeah, you're probably going to burn more fat while you do it. So Yeah, I would recommend just, yeah. Do you normally train in the morning or the evening or? Yeah. I mean, the easiest one is just do a morning workout fasted and then eat, you know, an hour or two afterwards and see how that goes for you. Oh,
Hi. What are some good examples of lean protein foods?
Of lean protein
Yeah.
foods? Say something like a rump steak or something like that is pretty lean. Just, you know, I mean, there's not necessarily a benefit to eating lean meats per se. Is this in terms of, sorry, the macronutrient fasting? Yeah. Like cottage cheese is always a good one, or chicken breast, all the typical bodybuilder foods really. I mean, that's what they do. Just eat very low calorie, protein dense foods. They're not good because they're low fat or good because they're low carb. It's the fact that they don't have carb or fats means they've got less calories, so yeah.
If availability and budget wasn't a problem, what's the ideal breakdown of fats, protein, carbs, and what's the ideal protein per body weight and calories per day?
I would say I don't think there is one, honestly. I really don't think there is one. I think you shouldn't go too overboard on protein. I think there's a lot of, you know, supplement companies wanting to push you to have loads of protein powders which aren't necessary. Say, you know, somewhere roughly between 1 gram to 1.5 grams per kilo body weight, maybe. But even that, you know, probably just anywhere between the sort of 70 to 120 gram range per day is fine for everybody. And then whether the rest of your calories come from carbs or fats doesn't really make too much of a difference. You know, there's people who do really well on both sides. The problem seems to occur when you combine the two, and again, it makes food highly rewarding. You just eat too much of it. This is why I say eat for nutrient density, you know, rather than carbs, proteins, fats.
Hi, just with travelling around, I'm doing a bit of travelling for the next 6 months, and I might struggle with some of those, like being able to eat that greater quality food while I'm travelling. But just realise that gut flora seems like a very important issue.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of way I can sort of maybe a good daily ritual for having the yogurts and those kind of foods? What's an advisable sort of daily routine for?
Yeah, I mean, yogurt is a good thing, providing you can tolerate it. And you know, a lot of people can because it's lactose that tends to cause the digestive distress if you're lactose intolerant. But one of the reasons these fermented foods came about was the bacteria, you know, they metabolize the lactose, so it makes it easier to digest. I mean, you'll probably find as you travel around, say, look into the local cuisine, most traditional places have some form of fermented foods, you know. And yeah, yogurt now tends to be available everywhere. What I'd say is be really careful on the yogurts. Get the natural full fat yogurts, not necessarily for the fat, but because in the low fat ones, they put loads of sugar in there. And again, you're getting some of the good bacteria in there, but then you're getting the food for the bad bacteria and it's counterproductive. So just, yeah, natural yogurt with some fruit, you know. If you're pretty active, you know, bananas are a good prebiotic as well. So like sliced banana in yogurt is a pretty good gut flora boosting food. Cool. Well, thank you very much. It was nice to speak to you today. And yeah, I'll be around throughout the day and tonight for any more questions. Thanks.